Hey guys, Test here. I recently had my 10K that I've been training for, and if you've been following my channel, I kind of talked about this a little bit ago. Basically, 16 weeks ago, I set a goal of running a 31:30 10K or faster, and I'm happy to say in my race, I ran exactly a 31:30. And I thought today I would talk about those 16 weeks and 5 of my most memorable or most beneficial workouts that I did over that period. Alright, so first of all, my training was not perfect. Out of those 16 weeks, I probably had a solid 11 to 12 weeks of training. I had some illness that took me out. I had a hamstring injury, and then we got a bunch of ice and snow, which is odd for Vancouver Island, and it really makes training a lot harder. But I'm not here to make excuses. I was still able to put the work in when it mattered, and I was still able to barely achieve my goal. And here are some of the workouts that helped me get to that 31:30 10K. So the first workout isn't really a 10K workout, but it's an awesome one nonetheless, and it's one I've actually talked about a few times on this channel. So this is a huge workout. It's much better for marathon training, but it's a 30K run, and it's done over the same 5 kilometer stretch of road, and essentially you run 5K easy out, 5K hard back, 4K easy out, 4K hard back, 3, 2, and 1. And for this workout, as the intervals got shorter, I would try to pick up the pace and run even faster. So awesome workout. I've done this one a ton of times, and feel free to use it yourself. And this was on the track, and I did 5 by 1K. 4 of those kilometers, I came in at under 2:55. And for me mentally, this was a really important workout. This was done many weeks before the race, before my training really got started. Workout number 3 was actually done on the race course itself. A training partner and I, we did 3 by 2K at different sections on the course. Number 4 was probably my biggest and most beneficial workout. This again was done on the track, and I did a main set of 10 by 1 kilometer with only 1 minute rest in between. And I believe for almost all of the kilometers, I was able to come in at slightly faster than my goal 10K pace. So mentally, physically, this was a great workout to get done. And I remember finishing this workout knowing without a doubt I could run a 31:30 10K or faster. And then workout number 5, I did exactly 1 week before the race. Again, this was on the course itself, and I did a few intervals of a 3K, a 2K, and a 1K, and those were all at race intensity. So I would call those my top 5 memorable workouts in that 16 weeks. And if we look at total mileage over those 16 weeks, it was very low. So I only averaged 78K of running per week. I did do a little bit of cross training, especially when it snowed here. I would hop on the bike and ride on Zwift. Now, some of the things I focused on throughout this training plan. Number 1, as soon as I set my goal of running a 31:30, I broke that down into pace. And at the bare minimum, a 31:30 is a 3:09 per kilometer. So going into every higher quality or more intense workout, I always had that number in the back of my mind. And oftentimes, basically once every week, I would run my intervals at faster than 3:09 per kilometer. So some of the things I focused on was consistency. Now, I would have loved to consistently be over 100K weeks, but life happens, and life happened to me over those 16 weeks, and I just wasn't quite able to get those in. But like I mentioned, I did all of my workouts very intense, and I made sure every week I was really focusing on that speed because I knew that's what was going to help me hold 3:09 per kilometer on race day. Now, number 2 is an important one as well, and that's injury prevention. So because I was hitting it very hard every single week, your rate of injury is going to skyrocket. And I did actually end up getting injured. I had a hamstring injury, which took me out for a little while. But ultimately, I did as best as I could. Made sure I was foam rolling, stretching, doing all the things that you're supposed to do as a runner. And injury prevention should be key for all of us, regardless if you're trying to run a 31:30 10K or if you're doing a couch to 5K program or trying to break 5 hours in the marathon. It's of the utmost importance because if you get injured, you can't be consistent. Number 3, I wasn't even going to talk about this, but it is something that I did, and that was I leaned out a fair bit in the final 10 days, week leading into the race. And I wasn't going to talk about this because I think for a lot of people, weight loss or hitting a certain number on the scale can be a negative thing. It's just people might focus on it too much, or some people have the tendency to maybe go a little bit too light. But I got down to a healthy race weight, and it did really help me on race day. And finally, later on in my training program, it was actually 2 weeks before the race, I did a local 8K. And I didn't have the best race. To be honest, up until that 8K, it's been a very long time since I did any serious racing. and I just felt like I had some race rust. So anytime during that race it would start to hurt and get really hard, I found it just really hard to focus in and really push through that pain. So in the final 2 weeks after that race, I can tell you I was pissed off that I had a bad race result. And I told myself, for this 10K, when it gets hard, you just keep pushing through, you stay on that gas, you don't back off. And that's exactly what happened. I had a fantastic race, stayed on the gas the whole time. I was lucky enough to find a small group of 3, and we pushed each other throughout most of the course. And I was able to stay on the gas longer than them and ended up dropping them and hitting my goal time of 31:30. So anyways, just wanted to share some of the details of my successful race with you. Next major race for me will be the Vancouver Marathon in about 3 months, and I'm looking to break the 2:25 barrier for the first time. Let me know down below in the comments if you have any training or racing questions, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Like always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.